Formula 2 returns. Welcome to a landmark weekend for FIA Formula 2. It is time to go racing here at F2 at Australia, where it should be an exciting contest. We cannot wait to get the weekend underway. It is a beautiful sight wherever we look. It is round number 3 of the season. We have qualifying as F2 gets back going after a 2-week break. And we are all set for a battle around 5.2 kilometers, 3.2 miles, 14 turns in total for the drivers to navigate. And we are using the new layout for the first time in PRL. It's the first time that F2 is at Australia as well in PRL. So we're all set for what should be a very, very exciting weekend of action. In the commentary box, my name is Omi. Delighted for F2 to be back, and delighted to also be back to call you through the action where we have qualifying, which sets the grid for both races, which come our way tomorrow and on Sunday. Well, we've got a bit more of an exciting qualifying compared to Spain. We have got the conditions bright and lovely, and we have got a lot of drivers ready to go attacking. Bry returns. He was the man who took the fight to Jaden in round 1 in qualifying. Beat Jaden in that qualifying session. He'll be looking to do the same thing again. Here is Pal, a driver with lots of pace, but nothing to show in the championship as well, due to missing a few of the point scoring races, and he will not be here for the rest of the weekend as well. I believe he might be back for the future race. We'll see about that one. So he is going to be going all hunting for those 2 points that you get for pole position here in FIA Formula 2. So that should be very exciting indeed, and we are all set for what should be a hyper competitive close qualifying session. It's a hyper competitive season, and we expect it to be the case when it comes to qualifying as well. So we are just going to quickly get ourselves started with, first of all, making sure that we've got F2 qualifying as the main thing. Ignore that for the drivers. Sorry, drivers, that you've got that as a bit of a distraction momentarily. Over the line we go with the man second in the championship. Might be second in the championship. He's first on the road, and it's the ART of Jaden, who is a driver who is the man to beat. Reigning Formula 2 champion, trying to be the champion this year again, but the difference he's got is he is not the championship leader. The man who is the championship leader is the man in your picture, and it seems like we have had a moment, and spinning around is Bella at the end of the lap, and that is going to bring out the yellow flags in the third sector. Harrison must have been collected in that one, so a huge dramatic moment. We are going to quickly rejoin to make sure that we get Bella's name for us as well. So we're just going to quickly make sure that comes our way, so we can quickly, easily do the spectating for you. So, there we go. Back in. Pictures delivered back to you. And Bella out there on the circuit continuing on, but with a huge moment. So, let's run you through the, let's actually run you through the standings coming into this race weekend of Formula 2. Of course, we've had a break. We've let Formula 1 have a few rounds alone. And those Formula 1 rounds, can I just say, were incredibly boring. So it's great that we have Formula 2 back for you. It's Harrison leading with 48 points. Jaden close behind on 41 in second. Then it's Logo, Note, Bella, the driver in your picture right now, managed to score a podium as well so far this season, so great stuff by her. Then Pal, Leclerc with 6, Bry with 2. He gained those 2 points in qualifying when he took pole in the opening race of the season. He'll try and make it 4 today by taking pole position once again. Sunderland and Ryan, who we aren't going to be seeing much of throughout this season at all. Don't think we'll be seeing much of them at all in the remaining part of the season. They are both on 0, but they were drivers who will remain on the championship standings as they were part of the season originally, when we announced that Formula 2 would be making its way onto the PRL support bill once again. It is great to have this amazing category back, as we see Note getting past Bella down towards the first corner and making contact with Bella down there. Wasn't aware that it was a race. Turns out it is, though, as they made a bit of contact. That'll be yellow flags out in the first sector for sure. That will go back to green. Bella will continue and get back going. Here is the man who is quickest of all in the second part of the lap. The second sector. Prix, in the practice runs that we were getting earlier on, was the man that was the quickest driver in the second sector consistently on every single lap. But he was also a driver who found the wall, the pit wall, as well in practice. And it seems like he's done it once again. So lots of stuff continuing. So we had a practice session where drivers could just set unlimited laps before the session. About 15 minutes before the session, they were all still running, setting lap times. So we were watching different drivers, of course not live streamed. It wasn't a professional broadcast, just drivers driving around as well. So it meant that we were able to see and get an idea of who could be looking quick. Prix, we could tell that he was a driver who was quick in the second sector, as proven once again. We could also tell that he was a driver who made a lot of errors out of that final corner, and the lap became undone for him through that final corner as well. So we look at the order. It's Jaden with a 1 minute 4.1, a whole just under a second clear of Note, who is in second position. And then we have Bright in third. Pal is in fourth position. Pal is just trying to get those 2 points. Pal is the same as Bright. They're not looking for any reverse grid sprint stuff. They aren't going to be in the sprint races. So it's going to be, a spin at the final corner. First of all, is that Pal who's gone round? It is Pal who has gone round in the final part of the lap. He will rotate the car. He'll wait for the Prima to go, and then he will get back going. And that Prima over the line was Harrison. So it was Harrison over the line in the Prima. He's the only Prima. So if we do see a Prima throughout this session, then we know which one it is, because Logo is not here. So we only have one Prima car. And if Logo was here, the easy identifying difference between the two of them is we've got the blue lines on what would have been in real life Robert Schwartzman's car back a few years ago when he was in Formula 2. And then this is Mick Schumacher's car, the one that Harrison is driving. Driver cards. Now, there's been a lot of action. While maybe there's not been action on the circuit at all, there has been a lot of action, as well as I just accidentally get the weather up. We just leave it on automatic. I can select the weather, basically. Like, I can select any weather, but we like to leave it on automatic. It just decides by itself. Right now, it's dry. It was raining earlier on when we first joined the lobby. But we have, of course, seen that there's been a lot of action. What I'm trying to say. What are the words I was trying to get out before I got interrupted by the weather? There's been a lot of action. We've had not a lot of action on circuit, lots off circuit though, lots of discussion. Of course, Formula 1 has been going on, which a lot of these drivers have been participating in. We've had driver rating cards being released from Formula 2, and a lot of drivers disappointed, lots of drivers happy. And this is where they will try and turn it around. Trying to turn the car around in a few moments' time is going to be Pal, who has looped it around. And he will try to loop it back the right way around in the first part of the lap. The yellow flags will remain in that first part of the lap. And that was Note in the Trident. So the two teammates. Note seeing his teammate have a moment at the first turn and go through. So interesting stuff there as well. But yeah, driver rating cards were released. We will try and get them on for tomorrow's broadcast. We'll get them all on screen. We'll show you all of the driver cards that have been released. And actually, I think we'll make a video on it, maybe. We'll maybe make a video on it, because we don't really get time on these broadcasts, because it's all talking about the session. So yeah, the driver rating cards were released. Some drivers happy, some drivers disappointed. But most drivers reacted nicely to them. Most drivers reacted calmly, nicely. They were like, okay, well, we've got a few rounds ahead of us of Formula 2. Let's turn it around. The next time driver rating cards, the updated ones, are released, we'll have a better rating. And that's how it works. Some drivers had to give 0 on racecraft. For example, as a big moment for Pal once again. Going round. And that is at the end of the lap. So Pal once again going round. And this time going more than round, literally going in the air momentarily. So going in the air momentarily for him. Into the pit lane comes Jaden. He goes back out there. And Jaden has to stay out there for the session, because remember, this time he's got Prix. Bry can find a lap out of nowhere. Bry invalidates a lot. Yes, he invalidates quite a bit. But when he gets the lap right, he is suddenly in contention. Like Monza, you expected it to be Jaden. It was Jaden from start to finish. From start to basically 3 minutes to go. And then Bry did it in a click. And no one even noticed. I was quickly sorting out Bella's car at that time. And I pressed Q, looked at the timing screens, and we had suddenly a new man at the front. So Bry could come out of nowhere. Harrison could. Note isn't too much away. If Note can maybe find a trick with where you can get away with a certain piece of corner cutting, he could suddenly find himself in contention. So it's completely wide open, and it still could change the order. But a great lap for Jaden to start himself off with, as well as he tries to take the championship lead away from the man who sits in P3, who's your championship leader, Harrison. And the standings, I wouldn't say represent pace too much. We have drivers all over the road, all over the place, I should say. Logo, for example, is right now in third. It's basically been about attendance and what races you've attended. If you've attended a feature race and you've attended 2 feature races and there's been low attendance in it and you've got podiums in it, you could find yourself higher than some of the other drivers as well. Here is Bright. He was improving in the first. He's invalidated in the second, so that is not what he wants. That doesn't apply, though, to Harrison. Here is the Prima driver. Well, actually, it might apply overall on the lap time because I don't think he's going to finish it at a high pace. So Harrison will come over the line. He will go again, so a mistake in the last sector, surely, for Harrison, who goes out there again, who pushes on as he tries to get past his title rival. Harrison saying that he's not got a chance of the F1 championship. The F1 cars don't suit him. He says he definitely has a chance of the Formula 2 championship. So keeping your eye on Harrison is going to be crucial. And even while he might not have the outright pace, we've seen drivers win it when they've not had the outright pace. We've seen lots of drivers in contention. For example, let's take it back to when we ran PRL, when we ran F2 in PRL. Nick versus Jaden, consistently battling, but it was, if you could finish the race, if you could attend more races, it was basically stuff like that. Now, I want to also bring your attention and make a reference to real life. Paul Aaron led the championship so far. He's second in the championship. He's the only driver in the top 10 to not win a race. So, the man who's been leading the majority of F2 this year has not won a race. I think that tells you all you need to know about real life, first of all, how competitive the real life championship is, but also tells you you don't need to win a race. You don't need to always be at the front. You could get those thirds, the seconds, consistently, and you could find yourself in the championship. You could find yourself at the front of the championship. That's a great improvement. That's a great improvement from Bry, who has found his way up to second position, and he is close to Jaden. So that is what we were referencing earlier. Jaden cannot relax. Bry can easily find a lap time, and that could easily be a lap time that takes him to the front. He is only averagely about 4/10s behind, so Bry is going to be a driver to watch out for. Our championship leader is a man to watch out for as well. Harrison seems to be going attacking. But yeah, being consistent, getting the second places are going to be critical in this type of championship, especially when we've got 11 rounds. They will all go by quickly. We've got 11 rounds. We've already got 3 rounds done. Bry is quickest of all in the second sector, but that lap won't count, so will not make a difference one bit. But Bry is one man to watch because he is one beast in that middle sector. There is always that type of sector where it just clicks for a driver. Off the road goes Bella through the 14th and final corner of the circuit. There is always a moment where it clicks for a driver in a specific part of the lap where they're stronger. And it is the case for Bright. We turn our attention to Note. What is Note going to be able to do across the line? Will he be able to improve his time? An improvement in the second sector, but not overall. So Note's best lap is a 1 minute 4.977. His last lap is a 1 minute 5.580. And to be fair, this is close. By Roblox standards, this is close. Between, I'd say, the top 4, it is pretty close. You've got 3 cars in 1 minute 4s. A few tenths back from Harrison. Powell trying to get used to it. And struggling in the meantime. But Jaden is going to try ruin it for us. He's going to try and make it not close. And not give us a great ending to this session, because he is fastest of anyone in the first sector, and Bry's gonna need to push a lot if he wants to try and take this back away. 15 minutes to go. 15 minutes to go on the clock, so we've completed half distance in this qualifying session, and Jaden being impeded momentarily and hitting the wall. The man at the front of the field right now on the timing page has hit the barrier, pushing on to improve his run, and he has spun in the final part of the lap. He will continue on in this session, but a moment that possibly ruins an improvement for the British driver. So Jaden going round there. That's basically what everyone wants. Everyone wants Jaden to spin. I say everyone. All the drivers want Jaden to spin, because finding a good lap around this circuit can be hard. There's always going to be the moment that you overdo it. Like that, for example. Jaden pushing on again. He made a mistake at turn number 1. So just like that, you might have the pace. You might have the potential to go and settle 1 minute 3. But if you can't find the lap and you keep making an error, then sometimes you won't be able to find an improvement. Time's ticking. You lose a lot of time if you make a mistake like that. And that brings Prix, that brings Harrison, that brings Note, that brings everyone back into play. That's basically, that moment has stopped Jaden from finding an improvement. The next lap, my point is already proven. He's made a mistake. It's very easy to make a mistake. And it means that you may have been on for one good lap. You might not be able to find it all session. So it opens the door for drivers like Prix. It opens the door for drivers like Note. So interesting to see whether we are going to see anyone challenging Jaden. But the driver who seems most likely to is Prix. He's the driver with the potential in the second part of the lap. Into the pit lane comes the man in your picture, Note, as well. And he will head back out onto the circuit. Same into the pit lane as well for Bella, so same thing applies. We saw Prix, who was complaining about Bella, so I think Bella's got in the way of the Red Bull liveried car of Prix. So that is not what Prix wants, especially when he is also, same thing applies. Now I say this about Jaden, that the field will be happy that he made a mistake on that lap, because that cost him a possible great lap. Same thing also applies to Prix. If he's on a good lap, he gets blocked, he might not be able to find the same potential all session when there's 12 minutes to go. So it doesn't only apply to Jaden. If you're on a good lap, it's sometimes hard to replicate that again and again and find a faster time. So if a driver does lose a run, it can be pretty critical. A quick mention about corner cuts. Drivers are allowed to cut what they're allowed. So if it comes up as red, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, we've got Bella's first sector being red, Pal's first and third sector being red, some laps overall being red as well, you can see. So if you can see red on the timing page, that means they have invalidated. Prix has found an improvement. The man in second place at the moment has got himself closer to the front. We've got a fight on our hands with under 12 minutes to go. It's Jaden still leading Prix, but Prix continues to close the gap. So that's critical as well. But we also are going to now see whether we're going to... So Prix invalidated this time around. He'll go pushing once again. But this is a close session. This is one where it can all be fighting, where it can all be fighted for. But yeah, brilliant scenes as we have a car of Pal, who was out of the way, but Prix drove basically into the back. Did Prix. So interesting stuff. Bella's still in the pit lane, so she's just staying in there for the time being. Here is our championship leader. We haven't shown you him for the time being, but we're just watching the drivers who are most likely to find an improvement. So that's what we're looking for. Let's see if Harrison... I think Harrison can maybe try get third. I think he'll need to basically unlock something mighty to challenge for the front row with the evidence so far. Same applies to Note. He'll need to find something mighty. So I think we have two sections here where we have the battle for first between two drivers, battle for third between two drivers, and Pal maybe being an outsider. Quickest of all in the first sector is the man in your picture, Prix. Well, it said he had a purple first sector. Now it's been removed. Okay, so Jaden's improving, Prix improving. That's interesting. So the game's glitching slightly. But Prix is quickest of all in the second part of the lap. Hold on then. Hold on. Oh, he's invalidated. I don't believe it. Prix finding an improvement in the first, fastest of all in the second, and he is invalidated heading into the third sector. That's a lap gone for the American driver trying to find the lap to beat Jaden at the front of the field. We turn our attention to Jaden, who's also backed out of it. So that's the positive for Prix. There wouldn't be much positives from that mistake, but the one positive he's got is Jaden was improving in both sectors as well. That has stopped. Talking about improvements, here is Harrison. He is gunning for the line as well, and he's gunning for third position, trying to get there and trying trying to get ahead of Note. The championship leader knows that he's going to need to be consistent if he wants to win this championship. He may not have the outright pace, but if he can get on the podium and get some consistent results, that could be critical. Over the line he goes on. It was an invalidation in the last sector, means that it won't be an improvement overall for him, but it would have been an improvement by 20 milliseconds had he kept it on the road. So wouldn't have been able to get him up to Note, unfortunately, but that's a lap he's lost there. 9 minutes on the clock to go, but if Prix can find an improvement, that could be critical. That could be critical indeed. But just before, we've talked a lot about the session, we've talked a lot about FIA Formula 2. Just look at these pictures around this circuit. We have, of course, updated the layout for this race compared to, we were still running the old layout. And this circuit's more realistic. The other one, you could just send it flat out through some corners, which you can't in real life. So it's more realistic. Just look how beautiful some of these parts of the circuit look. I think the sprint race thumbnail, I think a lot of people thought that looked very good. It just looked very good with the Prima car. So tomorrow's sprint race thumbnail, if you haven't already, make sure you go and take a look at that. And of course, join us. If you join us for tomorrow's sprint race, then you will also see the exact same thing. Coming to a halt on the circuit is Note, and that could bring the red flag. Note has come to a halt. That will need towing. The red flag is called, and the clock will be stopped at 8 minutes on the clock to go. The red flag is flying here at Albert Park. The tow truck team of Jaden will go to work and get rid of that car. Prix saying that he got impeded due to that red flag on the lap. There was a 21.9 to 0 improvement fully there from him. So Jaden will grab his tow truck and get to work. But the red flag is flying due to Note, who has stopped out there on the circuit, and we believe he is left the session as well, so he will not be participating in the rest of this. Yeah. So, Note has had to go, I believe, or something like that. So, unless he comes back, which he can come back in this session, but his car will be in the pit lane. He will get third position, unless... But this gives Harrison an opportunity. If Harrison can find a mighty lap, he could find himself to third. So, Note is going to be, well, we will definitely see. Harrison, remove your message about should be a penalty. What we're going to do is, I'll ask him the reason, and we'll see. Just so he doesn't get any hints that I'm giving him a penalty, basically. Yeah, because I want to try see the reason, and then we might give him a penalty. If it's like he could have, I mean, I gave Jaden a penalty. Remember, Jaden got a penalty for it, didn't he? Jaden got a penalty for parking his car in the, on the track. So, actually, Note will most likely get a penalty. Let me just add, yeah. So, if anyone remembers, well, of course, you guys probably won't know. But if I scroll down to the stewards from last time out, that would also be a penalty. That probably will not be penalty points, actually, for that one. But I don't think I awarded Jaden with a penalty point last time. We'll see. So, FIA decisions from F2. 5th place grid drop is the word I was trying to say. For Jaden for the sprint tomorrow. As this is interesting, down there in the pit lane. So Jaden will go to work, get rid of that car. But yeah, 5th place grid drop for Jaden for the sprint tomorrow. This is due to him rage quitting on circuit with reports of lag, but he had the exact same as Harrison. It was only Paul who actually had way more than everyone. So he got the penalty for that. But basically, I know there's a lot written about the rage quitting, but basically, yeah, he rage quitted on circuit. If he did it in the pit lane, that would be fine. He did it on the circuit, which is why... Deep breath. Tow truck nearly eliminating itself. But yeah, this is why we... the reason, of course, says rage quitting on there. But if he brought it back to the pit lane is what I told him. If he brought it back to the pit lane, it would have been all okay. He didn't bring it back. He stopped it on the circuit. We had a red flag, which is why he got given the penalty. So that's why Note will most likely also have a penalty as well. And it's not disconnection or anything. It's not Wi-Fi. If it was Wi-Fi, you would have been back by now. So it's not Wi-Fi. So most likely, basically 100%, it will need to be drop for the sprint tomorrow. We also do have a question coming in. If there is a drop, if the driver doesn't attend the sprint race, where does the penalty go to? Basically, how it works in Formula 2 is it goes to the next race they compete in. If he doesn't attend the sprint, it goes to the feature. If he doesn't attend the feature, it goes to next race and the next sprint. It continues going, basically. So that's how it works in real life Formula 2. That's how it works here as well. the tow truck team, our brilliant tow truck team, going to work with that one. So huge thanks to Jaden. And then we'll resume this session with 8 minutes on the clock to go. And it should be hopefully a hyper-competitive 8 minutes where Bri is able to take the fight to Jaden. That is what we are hoping, at least. Or even Harrison. If Harrison can get in the mix, I think he's already got third confirmed, basically. But it's always good to just get the lap as well. In case, let's say, Notice had a long Wi-Fi breakage and he ends up coming back. We'll hear the reason from him. That's why I've told Harrison to remove the message. Because then, he'll maybe give a reason, a bit of a fake reason. If you get what I mean. So that's why we've done that. Jaden, just drop it off, basically. Just drop the car off in the thing, and then you can go back to your car and continue the session. Thank you very much, Jaden, for that. Notes lap is a 1 minute 04.977. So, yeah. Harrison will be trying to beat the lap anyway. It's always better. It's always better if you can beat the lap. Just in case for if there's any rare occasion. If there's any rare occasion that maybe your rival doesn't get a penalty. It will be a penalty. It should be a penalty. But if there is anything out of the ordinary that he doesn't get a penalty, something really that strange, then always great to see. Always good to get that lap in case. And that is definitely what Harrison will try to. He said he's not going to be able to do it, but we've had stranger things in Formula 2. Everyone looked far away from Jaden at the start. Then Bri was able to find some times. Bri was able to find a time that would have beaten Jaden, but if he was able to complete it. So that's going to be the interesting thing. Jaden will go back out there onto the circuit. Jaden, are we fine to get the green flags back out?
Can't find my car.
Well, he says he can't find his car. I believe it will be... Well, that's unfortunate, but there it is. There is his car. But the green flag is back out. It is going to be exactly 8 minutes on the clock remaining for the drivers to try and get the 2 points for pole position. Out on the track we go once again. Huge thanks to Jaden once again for doing all of the Marshall tow truck, all of that work, and getting Note's car removed without any issues or drama. Well, we nearly had the tow truck having a huge crash on the circuit, so that would have caused a huge delay out there on the circuit. Let's see how close Harrison. So Harrison says he can't beat Notes Lab, but it will be interesting to see whether Harrison can get close, or maybe he can study driver's line. If he can start laps behind Jaden, if he can start laps behind Pal. And the amazing thing with Formula 2 is it gets live streamed. Remember this, it gets live streamed. So drivers can go back on the stream, they can see the fast drivers lap time, they can see the lines that everyone's taking, and it means that maybe Harrison is missing some time somewhere, which he can try tomorrow. And basically, if he tries it tomorrow and it brings him back in the game, he could be in contention for victory this weekend. So it's always just trying to improve, seeing where your rivals are quick, what lines they're taking, trying to adapt, trying to take the same lines as them. Because Brian and Jaden have been here before. They've been here for a long time. Jaden's F2 title was won in 2021. So, they've been here for a long time. They've been dealing with my type of corner cuts. They've been dealing with all sorts of Roblox racing stuff. So they know how to maximize it under a short period of time compared to maybe some drivers who are just getting underway. Now, especially with these Formula 2 cars, Jaden has experience with these Formula 2 cars. So does Pal. Pal isn't able to show on the timing screens right now, but he's a driver who can be quick when it all gets together for him as well. So, yeah, that is how it's going to work for this season. The rookies are going to be trying to... And while we may have a new circuit, which, yeah, kind of balances out. If we, let's say we go to Monza later on this season. And that is going to, for example, a lot of the driving talent is going to be tested there. The drivers who've driven there before, like Jaden, are going to have an advantage. That's how it's basically going to go in that type of session. So yeah, drivers will be trying to see where their rivals are quick, where their rivals are not. And maybe even if you start, let's say if you start a lap behind Jaden, you don't really get impacted by dirty air in this. So if you start a lap behind Jaden, just follow Jaden's line. Just stay close with Jaden all the way throughout the lap. You could still find yourself going very quickly. So yeah, just trying different things. We will see improvements hopefully in this session. We hope at the front of the field. If not, maybe somewhere else. But it seems unlikely. We know Bry has it in him. We know that Bry has it in him, though. We know he has it in him to find the time, to find the lap. This is where the session should have been over. It will not be over, though, because we had a red flag. And it means that, of course, in Formula 2 qualifying, whether it's real life or this, the session time gets stopped. Bry has got to go. Bry has got to go. And it means that we will not have a fight at the front of the field for pole position. And that is going to be a disappointment. So Bry's had to go. Question is, where on earth has he parked it? Is it in the pit lane? Is it not? Down to the braking zone. Down to the end of the lap. Let's see whether Harrison can find an improvement. Then out of the 14th and final corner, he is now heading for the line. The man currently sits in 4th position. Goes to 3rd with a 1 minute 4.454. Well, he could have got that position anyway due to Note's penalty. He has gone out there. He's pushed. And we have 4 drivers in the same second. Incredible stuff by Roblox standards here in Formula 2. It's hyper competitive, and while we may not get the battle for pole unless Harrison just has to find 3/10. If Harrison can magically find 3/10, he could still get pole. And what a change that would be. What a difference that would be from struggling earlier on, now a lap to 3rd, a further 3/10 could be pole position. This is wild scenes. Maybe it's still game on in this session. Maybe there is still a fight to come our way. Absolutely brilliant stuff here in FIA Formula 2. It's not over till it's over. And we are seeing that right here, right now. 3 minutes to go on the clock. And Jaden improves his time. Jaden, the man in your picture, has improved his time to a 1 minute 3.673. We have drivers getting closer to his lap, but he will take it further away from the field to confirm that he's got pole position and make sure that he doesn't get a late threat coming from any driver in this field. Now, Harrison's improving in the first sector, but he'll need to find something mighty. He could still find his way onto the front row. He could still get second, though. He's only 20 milliseconds away from Bry. He could still get onto the front row. So Harrison still has something to fight for in the session. Jaden may have taken it fully away from the rest of the drivers in this field. Jaden is a man who just pushes and is pushed even further at the front. Here is Harrison, though, the man currently sitting in 3rd. He is your championship leader, and he'll try and get to 2nd position. Jaden has taken the fastest lap further away from everyone. Can Harrison, though, find his way to the front row? He's currently 3rd. Can he turn it into 2nd? Over the line. And he will not improve on that lap. He has 2 more laps to go. 2 more laps to go for Harrison to try and change that. Every time he takes the 1st sector, it seems like it's better. Red flag. Called. We're going to have a one-shot qualifying. We've just seen in the background of our shot, we've got Bry's car that needs recovering.
Penalty for Bry.
So, Bry should be getting a penalty for that one. Don't even know when he'll serve it, because technically, I don't know when he's next extending. But it'll just be carried on to every race that he does. But yeah, the red flag would have come out earlier, but no drivers reported it to us. Of course, the drivers are going to be cheeky. They aren't going to report it to us. We still have 2 minutes on the clock to go, so it's still to be fought for in this session. But of course, the drivers aren't going to report that there's a car stopped. They're not going to snitch and get their laps impeded. But of course, that was the earliest we saw it. So of course, we're going to have to red flag it at the earliest opportunity that we see it. There will be one run remaining. There is still going to be 2 minutes on the clock. It'll be rounded up. We can't get it exactly, so there'll be 2. So we're going to round it up to 2 minutes, and drivers will get a run. drivers will get a chance. A one-shot qualifying will be a rush out of the pit lane. Jaden will just be gunning to extend his advantage at the front. Harrison will try get second place on merit. And basically that's it. Pal will try his best to find anything magical at the end, unless he's been leaving it for a late lap showdown. But that should be a penalty for Prix, as Jaden does mention. So a penalty, 2 penalties coming for the exact same reason, leaving it on the circuit. And we didn't see it on our picture, which is why we of course let the session run. We didn't see it. So we were like, okay, right, so the session can run then. Here is Jaden quickly clearing the car. Brilliant stuff by him, as per usual. Now we're going to need to rejoin this server. So we're just going to quickly put it back on the thumbnail. We will leave and rejoin just to make sure I've got all the drivers available to click through in this final part of the session. Joining back. Back to live pictures for everyone. In front of us is the Arden of Bella. This should be exciting. 2-minute showdown. Who's going to be on pole? Well, well, I say that, but I think we pretty much know who's going to be on pole. But you know, just Formula 2 has had stranger things. So let me just get the 2 minutes. I'm looking for. Let's just set something random for the race. 2 minutes is underway. 2 minutes to sort out this grid and finalize this grid, and immediately overtaking is Jaden. Jaden getting on with it. And he's jumped out of his car. There'll be yellow flags in the first sector. He'll be able to get back to it. I mean, to be fair, the lap time around is a 1:03. So you'll still get one run. You'll still get one lap. So it won't even make a difference for Jaden. Bella's in the pit lane. She won't be doing anything else in this session. So she'll be settling for 6th and last in this order. We wait for Jaden to get in his car. Is Jaden in his car? Is the question. Don't think he is yet. There he is. Now he's in his car. So, backing off at the end of the lap is Pal. He's got 1 minute to go on the clock. There is Harrison making his way through it. And Harrison's about to begin what will be his final lap. Pal taking it very nice and steady. I wonder if he was trying to get onto... I wonder if he was trying to let Harrison through so he could follow Harrison around a lap and hope it's good enough to get ahead of Note. Wonder if he was trying that. But I think he's left too much of a gap. Will Jaden make it to the line in time? So, Pal's made it to the line. Harrison's made it to the line. Bella will not get another lap in this session. She's in the pit lane. Jaden, the time is ticking down. That should be pretty straightforward. He'll make it to the line in time. Won't even be a contest with the checkered flag line. 7 seconds to go. Everyone's made it over the line for one last run. Is anyone improving? Harrison not improving in the first sector. The checkered flag is waving at the end of qualifying here at round 3 at Albert Park. Jaden's at the front of the field. He has one more lap ahead of him. Harrison has got... this is Harrison's last lap. He's going to meet the checkered flag. I don't think it's going to be good enough, unfortunately, for Harrison to challenge and upset the top 2 places. Bride's going to be under investigation, so will Note. Over the line will go Harrison, and Harrison will come over it, and that will be 3rd position. Sealed and sorted if it wasn't already, which it basically is. Jaden has backed out of it. He doesn't need to improve on this lap. Pal will drive into the pit lane. He wasn't improving on that lap. And after all of that, Jaden is on pole for the first time this season. And while he's had probably the most pace out of anyone this season, he's just claimed his first pole. It was Prix in round 1. It was Harrison in round 2. Jaden finally gets the 2 points for pole and the best view going down to turn number 1 in the feature race on Sunday. Jaden on pole. So, there we go. That's the grid sorted. We will speak to our top 3. We won't be able to speak to many of our top 3. We'll just get to speak to Jaden. And also we'll get to speak to Harrison with a late lap to get in there. So let's make our way. We're going to fly over to the podium. They'll just park their cars on it. Not that we will go on that podium. We're not going to go on that iconic podium, of course, but we'll just do the interviews over here. So we can see that Jin on the top of the wheel.
Hold on, mate.
Celebrating that one. So, of course, we won't be going on that iconic podium, which, of course, looks a little bit different, as we've made it PRL and all F2. If anyone is wondering why it's F2, because, you know, F1 is running here, but F2 is being live streamed, so in F1 there's not really any footage being recorded, so that's why we've got F2 banners everywhere. In F2 there is footage. Hello, Jaden. Well, take us to the start of the session. Yeah, that part is invisible. But yeah, Jane, take us to the start of the session, even before the session. What were your expectations coming into this qualifying session?
Obviously when I heard Prix, I thought, my first lap was quite rubbish, but I found the track, just the lines and stuff, and obviously I got pole and then I extended it. But yeah, I did make quite a few mistakes. Other than that, it was good qualifying.
I think I might be talking to air right now. But anyway, so yes, yeah, Jaden. So can you explain then when we got the laps underway? Bry was on a quick one with the fastest second sector, a good first sector as well. Did you think that at that moment he was going to take it away from you?
It depends what he would set. Say it was a 103.7, then I would have taken it back. But obviously, it was a good qualifying. He did well that session, so have to congratulate him as well.
So for the sprint tomorrow, it'll be Bella on pole. Do you think you're going to be able to take the win?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, even though Jaden changed his answer to a maybe, it seems like it's more likely. He came up with a yes to start off with. That's something you don't often hear from Jaden. So yes, I think he's very confident, but he's of course gonna say the maybe part. Anyway, right, that is it for FIA Formula 2 at Australia. It is qualifying. It has been an amazing qualifying session around these amazing venues. Next time we go racing, it is going to be the sprint contest around this amazing circuit. We'll bring you it tomorrow when Formula 2 returns.